y'all. Welcome to Sewing Vocabulary 101. I want to show you a few terms that are going to be thrown at you right at the beginning of class. So I want you to be able to identify them so that you don't get confused as we go along. So the first term we have is pattern. Now a lot of people, when they hear the word pattern, they think this. Oh, look, there's a pattern on this fabric. But in reality, what we're going to be talking about is this, pattern. A pattern is basically a recipe that we use to create our projects. So in this envelope, you're going to get instructions on how to make this shirt or how to make this hoodie or this cute little dog hoodie. And you're also going to get a template for it as well in the form of tissue paper. I'm going to show you a video on what this all looks like in a second, but you use this information to make the product that you want. And so that's not this. This and this is what I mean by print. So when you go pick out your fabric, you get to decide whatever print you want. And there's some fun stuff out there. You can even go online and make your own print. You can draw your own your own design, and then have that uploaded to the website that will make fabric for you. So if you're interested in that, ask me about it later. The next question is fiber. So fiber is what makes up our fabric. So it's what creates the strings in our fabric. And I have two examples of fibers that are different. Okay, so here's like a stocking hat. And you can see that it's really like soft and wool-like. And it is. This is actually wool. Whereas this is acrylic, and it also looks like wool, but it's not. It's actually been manufactured to make it look like wool. It's a lot cheaper to produce, and so people will want to make their hats out of this rather than this, because again, cost is down. However, this is going to be better for the environment. It's a lot actually better for you on your skin. This melts, so let's say you get next to a fire, this could melt on you, and this would just burn. We're going to talk a lot more about fibers coming up as well. The next one is notions, and of course I don't have any notions with me, that would be smart, but notions are the items that we need to make our products. So that would be like buttons or zippers, things like that. So you might see a little thing that says notions that says by thread or elastic. So it's all those extra little bitty details that you need to create your product. The next one is raw edge versus finished edge. Fiber, kind of like wood, has a grain to it. And there is an end to that fiber, and when it gets to the end, you might get an edge that looks like this. So this is called a raw edge. We actually don't want any raw edges to show on the outside of our projects. You can have them show on the inside. I tend to not do that. I like to finish all of my edges because I think it makes it a nicer, neater project. But here's what a frayed edge looks like, or a raw edge. And so an example of something that is finished is like this t-shirt right here. So you can see on the inside, it has been serged, if you see that little stitch line, and then on the outside, it's been folded over once and then sewn again. So if you look, it's a nice, clean, finished edge, and there's no fraying that goes with it. And of course, as we just talked about, what is fraying? Fraying is the bit and the ends of the ends of the fabric when it comes together. Sometimes your fabric will do this. If it's not finished, the fabric in the washing machine will just fray into a big ball that looks like this. So our goal as sewists is to finish all of our edges, fold that over and sew so that doesn't happen. Finally, the last thing that we want to talk about is the difference between right and wrong sides. This is very, very important. It's one of the easiest concepts, which is nice. And you could probably figure it out on your own. If I do this and I say, which one's the right and the wrong? Oh my gosh, it's not that hard to figure out. This would be our right side. This is the side that we want people to see, and this is our wrong side. Sometimes it can be difficult because fabric can sometimes be hard to tell what is the right and the wrong side, and that's a little harder. And then if something like this that's been dyed, you'd have to make a decision on what you think is the right and the wrong side. And that plays a very important role when we go sew stuff together. It's like putting these two puzzle pieces together. Typically, we sew our right sides together unless it's otherwise stated. So we have two more questions left and then we're done. The first is, why do we use patterns? Like I said at the beginning, it's our recipe. It helps us get to the final product that we want. I use patterns in this class, and I don't do stuff online because anyone can post anything they want online to make up anything. And I've in fact let kids, when I first started teaching, yeah, go ahead, find a pattern online. And they missed an instruction, or they forgot to write something, or they didn't put a seam allowance in or something. So stuff we find online isn't always reliable, whereas patterns like these have been tried and tested. So that means someone created the pattern and then had many people try and make it to make sure that it always turns out the right way. It's like getting a soup recipe off online and they forgot to add tomatoes to a tomato soup. Like, you don't want a recipe like that. You want to make sure that you have a recipe that multiple people have tried and liked. So patterns like this will help. Plus, I like using patterns because there's a lot of skills that go with it. A lot of us are really bad at reading directions. I know I'm one. I love a good YouTube video. That's why a lot of my instruction is videos. But sitting down and reading patterns has taught me a whole wealth of skills, patience, grit, determination, rereading, and trying to understand. And it is hard when you first start. Like, you're going to start with a pair of pajama pants. That might be kind of difficult. But once you get going, it gets easier and easier. It's like a language that you learn. So the last question is, where do you find patterns? Well, you can find them online. Like I just said, don't do online, but you can find brand name patterns online. You can go to any kind of clothing store, fabric store like Joann's. You can find them there. I order mine through the companies themselves as well. And I also have patterns for you. So as you're looking for this class, you can look in the patterns in the back of my room, and you can look on the websites that I've given you as well. And be picky. Find something that you like. This is all about you being inspired to do something fun and get out of your comfort zone. So take some time to find the good patterns. Thank you.